Part 1, The DeLorean Flux Backpack Caper. I was monitoring Hill Valley High School, Saturday detention, January 13, 2023. The afternoon sun paints the classroom in a stale yellow glow. My hair was always perpetually windblown, and hunched over the instructor's desk, the rhythmic scratch of my pencil drowning out Principal Strickland's droning lecture to the unfortunate students I was assigned to monitor. Suddenly, the door bursts open, a whirlwind of lab coat and excitement. Doc Brown storms in, his eyes wild with scientific glee. Doc excitedly exclaims, "Marty, we've got a temporal tango to dance, and the music stops in Iowa." To which I quip, "Whoa, Doc, slow down your flux capacitor. Where's the fire?" And Doc hastily replies, "Fire? Try a political inferno, McFly. The Iowa caucuses are about to go haywire, and a crony capitalist with the charm of a used vacuum cleaner is threatening to suck the future dry." Another Biff Tannen situation, I questioned. Doc replied, "Think bigger, Marty. This ain't a high school parking lot power play. This is a battle for the soul of democracy, fought with empty promises and sound bites instead of fists and fireballs." Looking puzzled I said, "But Doc, it's 3 states away, and Saturday detention. How are we gonna make it in time to stop this political biff from stealing the show?" Doc, grinning like a mad scientist, says, "Time, Marty? Where we're going, we don't need time. My latest invention, the DeLorean Flux Capacitor Backpack, can slingshot you across state lines faster than a greased lightning bolt." My eyebrows raised as I said, "A backpack that defies time? Sounds heavy, Doc." "Nah, just a few temporal tweaks and a whole lot of plutonium pizza power. Strap it on, McFly. We've got a caucus to crash and a democracy to save," came the witty response from Doc. So I donned the gigawatt backpack and readied myself for the turn on, the whirring gears and crackling energy sending shivers down my spine. With a fist pump and a great Scott, Doc activates the machine. Marty disappears in a blur of blue light, leaving Principal Strickland sputtering in a cloud of chalk dust and bewildered confusion. We now leap ahead to Iowa, but it's later on January 13, 2024, that we complete this transport. A rural town hall that buzzes with the energy of pre-caucus jitters. Farmers in overall swap stories, students debate policy in hushed tones, and politicians make grand promises from makeshift stages. Marty lands with a crash, the backpack sputtering its last temporal cough. He's surrounded by a sea of curious faces, the air thick with political tension. I brushed myself off, and said, "Hi there." A farmer replied, "Well, howdy there, son. You lost your lookin' for a debate?" I took a deep breath and said, "Actually, I'm here too, well, to shake things up a bit. See, I believe every voice matters, every vote counts, and we deserve leaders who don't treat democracy like a high school football game." The crowd murmurs, intrigued by this stranger with the guitar slung over his shoulder and a spark of conviction in his eyes. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting long shadows across the town square, Marty prepares to unleash his McFly brand of political revolution. What challenges will he face? Can he convince the Iowans to break free from the grip of empty promises and choose a future filled with hope and change? It's time for a brief pause. Please stay tuned for part 2 of the DeLorean Flux Backpack Caper to find out. Meanwhile, please take a moment to activate the like button and subscribe. We need your support. We have a shoestring budget and we are already over budget on this channel. We need you to help us get back to the future. Every subscriber is like a lightning bolt energizing Doc's time-traveling DeLorean. If you find anything you wish to comment on, please don't hesitate to do so in the comments section. Thank you. Now, back to the story. Part 2, McFly Revolution in the Cornfields. Doc and I were at an Iowa caucus town square, on January 13, 2024. As the embers of sunset painted the sky in shades of orange and gold, I stood before a crowd of skeptical eyes. And, I strum a familiar riff on my guitar, the sound cutting through the pre-caucus chatter like a bolt of lightning. Then I said, "Listen up, folks. I know I might not look like your typical political pundit, but I got something to say. This ain't about slick suits and fancy promises. This is about us, the people who make this country tick." I spoke with the raw honesty of a young man who's seen my fair share of Biff Tannen and his broken promises. I highlighted kitchen table economics, the struggles of farmers, and the anxieties of students, connecting on a level the usual campaign speeches can't reach. I crafted these facts into words, busting the myths with wit, and challenging assumptions with my trademark grin. But not everyone's buying it. A slick campaign advisor with a greasy comb-over and a suit tailor-made for political maneuvering emerges from the shadows. It's Biff Tannen 2.0, spewing promises of tax cuts and easy answers, his charisma as smooth as used car oil. This Biff says, "This boy's talking pretty, folks, but where's the plan? Where's the experience? He's just strumming a guitar while Iowa needs a conductor." The crowd murmurs, doubt creeping in. I knew that with Biff's powerful allure, I needed to cut through the Biffian fog with something powerful, something real. So, taking a deep breath, I began to dance my fingers across the frets of my guitar. And then I began singing, "Don't let 'em fool you with sugar-coated lies. This ain't about empty chairs and fancy ties. It's about hearts beatin', hands workin' hard. It's about the future, standin' up in the yard." My voice was raw and passionate, as it soared above the cornfields. Loudly I sang of unity, of the power of the people, of a future built on honesty and hard work, not slick promises and cheap tricks. The crowd starts to sway, the skeptics nodding along, the Biffian spell breaking. One by one, voices were heard rising from the crowd, echoing my words. Farmers talk about fair prices, teachers demand education funding, and students voice their dreams for a brighter tomorrow. The energy shifts and the tide turns. The caucus, no longer a scripted play, becomes a chorus of demands, a collective yearning for change. As the night deepens, the delegates gather, just common farmers with their faces etched with the weight of responsibility. Biff 2.0's empty promises ring hollow in the face of this awakened spirit. And when the votes are cast on Monday, it will be a different path they'll choose, a path inspired by this futuristic boy with a guitar and a message of hope. Doc Brown then said, "Great Scott, Marty, you did it. You revolutionized a caucus with a McFly melody." To this incredible compliment, I replied, "Just doing my part, Doc. Every voice matters, and sometimes, all it takes is a little truth and a whole lot of rock and roll to remind folks of that." As dawn breaks over the cornfields, a new energy stirs in the air. The great DeLorean Flux backpack caper might be over, but the McFly revolution has just begun. It's a reminder that change, even amidst political biffs and temporal snafus, is possible. The power lies in the people, in their voices, their votes, and their dreams for a better future. And who knows, maybe all it takes is a teenager with a guitar and a whole lot of heart to turn those dreams into reality. So, let this McFly spirit live on. Keep the conversations going, challenge assumptions, and remember, your voice matters. Even the smallest ripple can create waves of change. So, rock the vote, engage in debate, and keep the spirit of the great DeLorean Flux backpack caper alive. The future is in your hands, and it's looking mighty McFlyos.
Hey there, you magnificent misfits. Made it through another slice and dice report, did you? Now, that wasn't just any old news dump. That was a deep dive into the murky waters of politics, a high-wire act over the legal tightrope, and maybe, just maybe, a glimpse into a future where justice prevails. We know it wasn't always easy. We threw some curveballs, unpacked some hard truths, and maybe even ruffled a few feathers. But that's what TWN's all about. We shine a light on the shadows, stir the pot of conversation, and challenge you to think beyond the headlines. So here's to you, gracious visitor. You stuck with us through the twists and turns, the revelations and the rants. You embraced the chaos and the complexity, and you did it with a cup of your favorite beverage and an open mind. That's what fuels our fire, you know? Seeing folks like you engage, question, and connect with the stories we tell. So if you found yourself nodding along, jaw-dropping in disbelief, or scribbling notes in your margin, there's one more thing you can do to keep this conversation going. Give that little subscribe button a love tap, and pounce on the like as well. Every click is a vote for truth, a cheer for critical thinking, and a giant middle finger to the forces that try to keep us in the dark. And hey, while you're at it, leave a comment below. Let us know what you thought, what resonated, what made you want to throw your phone across the room. Your voice matters, your perspective fuels the fire, and together, we can build a world where harmony isn't just a dream, it's a headline every damn day. Thanks for sharing the journey, folks. Until next time, remember, keep your minds open, your hearts warm, and your thirst for truth unquenchable. This is TWN, signing off. And peace out, you magnificent misfits.